All right, ready to dive into something pretty wild.
I'm always ready for a deep dive.
This time, we're taking a look at the world of humanoid robots.
Okay, yeah, I'm intrigued.
Specifically, we're going to unpack everything we know about Tesla's Optimus.
Oh, right. The big reveal at the CyberCab event. That was something.
Exactly. It kind of blew up the internet. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, and we've got a ton of sources to dig through. The Week, Jalopnik, Electric, Bloomberg.
Like the whole media gang chimed in.
And the big question everyone's asking
Is Optimus the real deal? Or is this just like Elon Musk's hype machine in overdrive again?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, we're not just talking about some souped-up Roomba here.
No, this is...
These robots are supposed to, like, fully integrate into our lives.
Right. And even, like, be our friends.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And Musk was laying out this whole vision, Optimus doing all the housework, babysitting, even hanging out with you.
And didn't he say something about the price tag, too? Like, it'd be super affordable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's aiming for, like, $20,000 to $30,000.
Wow.
Saying it'll be accessible to everyone. I mean, that's straight out of the Jetsons, right?
It's audacious, no doubt about that. But, you gotta admit, the CyberCab event itself, that was pure spectacle.
Oh, totally.
Optimus serving drinks, dancing, playing games with the crowd.
It was like a show.
Oh, for sure. A well-produced show. I mean, remember Robert Scoble?
Yeah, the tech blogger.
He posted that video of himself ordering a drink from Optimus.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
It all looks so smooth, so futuristic.
Almost like too good to be true.
Well, about that.
But there's more.
Yeah, there's a twist. Several sources, even Scoble himself, they're saying that some of those, like, autonomous actions, they were actually done through teleoperation.
It's teleoperation.
So basically, it's humans controlling the robots remotely.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, like a super advanced puppet show, where a human is controlling the robot's every move from somewhere else.
So all those cool moves Optimus was pulling, it wasn't actually thinking for itself.
Not really, no. And here's the kicker. Get this. One of those Optimus robots actually said, "Today, I am assisted by a human."
No way.
Yeah. Apparently, Musk decided to include the robots in the event, like, last minute.
Uh-oh.
And according to Bloomberg, there just wasn't enough time to, like, fully develop the AI software.
So they had to bring in the human puppeteers to, like, save the day?
Pretty much.
Wow. That's a pretty big reveal, considering everything Musk was saying about, Optimus being this huge AI breakthrough.
Yeah, it's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it? It kind of makes you wonder, is this whole teleoperation thing just like a temporary fix? Or is it a sign that Tesla's AI, like, isn't as advanced as they're making it out to be?
Right. Because on one hand, you have, like, Josh Wolf from Lux Capital, who's saying flat out, people should not be lied to or misled by Elon.
Strong words.
Yeah, but then you have Paul Miller from Forrester Research who's saying we should really be focusing on what these robots can actually do, not just how cool they look.
Yeah, I can see his point. Like, if Optimus needs a human pulling the strings, is it really changing the game? Especially at that price point.
Right. Especially with Gizmodo saying that Tesla might actually be falling behind its competitors, if this whole human assistance thing is a regular thing.
Yeah, that's gotta sting a little bit.
But here's the thing. Even with that whole teleoperation reveal, some people were still pretty impressed. Especially in the investment world.
That's right. Like Nancy Tengler from Laffer Tengler Investments and Gene Munster from Deepwater Asset Management.
Yeah, them. They seem to think Optimus has a lot of potential, even with the human help. Like they're buying into the long-term vision.
So it's interesting. We're seeing this split, right, where some people are calling this a well-executed illusion, but others are saying it's a step towards something truly revolutionary.
And then there's the market's reaction. Tesla shares actually went down after the event.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
I don't know. It makes you wonder if maybe investors are getting a little skeptical. Not just about Optimus, but maybe about Musk's whole robotaxi plan too,
Yeah.
Because he keeps tying it back to this whole AI development thing.
Yeah, it's all connected.
This is getting complex. So what do we make of all this?
Well, I think it shows just how complicated this whole AI thing really is.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about a robot that's supposed to move and interact with the world just like we do.
Yeah. It's not just about building the hardware, the motors, the sensors, all that stuff. It's about the software, the brain, creating something that can actually mimic human intelligence.
Like you're trying to teach a machine to think.
Exactly.
To understand everything it's seeing, hearing, feeling, and then react in a way that seems natural, human. It's like something out of science fiction.
It really is. And to be honest, we're still just figuring out how the human brain works. So trying to copy that in a machine, it's a huge task. AI is a pretty young field.
Yeah.
And there's still so much we don't know.
Okay, so even if Optimus isn't exactly the autonomous marvel Musk was hyping it up to be, are there still things we can learn from this?
Oh, absolutely. Like, just the fact that Tesla has managed to create robots that can walk, mess with objects, even have basic conversations, even if they're getting a little help. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, it's like the first baby steps toward this future where robots are actually part of our lives,
Yeah.
doing stuff alongside us, which is exciting, but also kind of freaky if you think about it.
Totally. And it's really pushing the limits of robotics and AI research. You know, think about it. The first computers were massive. They took up entire rooms. And now we carry more computing power in our pockets than those early computers ever had. So Optimus may not be fully autonomous yet,
Uh-huh.
but it's showing us what's possible.
So maybe we need to adjust our perspective a bit. Instead of focusing on what Optimus can't do yet, we should be looking at how far it's come and what it means for the future.
Right, exactly. It's about seeing the bigger picture. And this whole Optimus thing, it brings up some really interesting questions, like how comfortable are we with this idea of humans remotely controlling robots?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And what ethical boundaries do we need to set?
Whoa, yeah. That's like we're stepping into some sci-fi movie territory,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to figure out the rules of the game.
And then there's the question of AI in general. Do we really want robots doing our chores, taking care of our kids, being our friends?
I mean, some days that sounds pretty good, right?
But it's something we need to be thinking about now, while this tech is still being developed.
It's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we use it, the impact it could have on, like, everything. Society, relationships, even, like, what it means to be human.
Exactly. This goes way beyond just nuts and bolts and lines of code. We're talking about philosophy, ethics, sociology. The implications are huge.
I think Musk knew what he was doing with this whole Optimus reveal. He got people talking.
Oh, absolutely.
And it feels like this is just the start of a much bigger conversation.
It's not the ending. It's just the first chapter. And it's a chapter that's full of potential, mystery, and a whole lot of questions that, as a society, we really need to start wrestling with.
Speaking of wrestling, you mentioned that teleoperation needs a human to control the robot remotely. But, like, how does that actually work? Are we talking joystick and a screen, or is it more complicated than that?
Great question. It's definitely way more sophisticated than just a joystick. I mean, think about all the complex movements Optimus was doing, walking, dancing, even like those delicate hand motions when it was serving drinks. To control that from a distance, you need some pretty serious tech.
So what kind of tech are we talking about?
Well, there are a few different ways to do it, but a common one involves something called motion capture. You know, like those suits with all the sensors that they use in movies and video games to create realistic character movement.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. The operator wears a suit that tracks their movements, and then those movements are sent to the robot.
Oh, wow. So they're basically puppeteering the robot live.
Exactly. But there's also this thing called haptic feedback, which means the operator can actually feel what the robot is feeling through sensors in the suit. So if Optimus bumps into something, the operator feels resistance in their own movements. It creates this super immersive, intuitive connection between the human and the robot.
That's incredible. But it also makes you think, if it's that precise, that nuanced, why not just have a human do those tasks in the first place? Why even build the robot?
Right. That's the big question. And I think it gets to the core of why Musk is so fixated on this whole humanoid robot thing. He thinks that in the future, robots will be able to handle tasks that are too dangerous, too repetitive, or just too difficult for humans to do. You know, like working in hazardous environments. Think about disaster zones or deep sea exploration or those physically demanding jobs in factories.
Yeah. The jobs that no one really wants to do.
Yeah.
So robots could step in and take those over.
Exactly. It would free up humans to focus on more creative, more fulfilling types of work.
So robots doing all the dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
And humans can just chill.
Well, it's not quite that simple, but yeah, that's the general idea. But Musk's vision actually goes even further than that. He sees these humanoid robots becoming our companions, our helpers, even our friends.
I can see why some people might be a little freaked out by that. Like, we've all seen those sci-fi movies where robots get too smart, too powerful, and then turn against us.
It's the classic fear of the unknown, right? The fear that we'll create something we can't control. But it also highlights that as we develop this technology, we need to be having serious conversations about the ethics of it all, about the potential risks and the safeguards we need to put in place.
Yeah, totally. It's a lot to think about. I feel like this whole Optimus reveal has just opened up a can of worms. but it's also sparked a lot of excitement and curiosity about the future.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So where do we go from here?
Well, one thing's for sure. This is only the beginning of the humanoid robot story. The tech is evolving so fast, and we're going to see more and more advancements, more breakthroughs in the coming years. The big question is, how will we as a society adapt to this new reality?
It's a question worth thinking about, but
Mhm.
before we go too deep into this philosophical rabbit hole,
Right.
let's take a closer look at some of the technical advancements that Optimus represents. Because even with the whole teleoperation element, there's still some seriously impressive tech going on under the hood.
You're right. There is. And one of the most fascinating aspects has got to be the AI that's driving even those teleoperated actions.
Oh, okay.
Remember how smoothly Optimus was moving, how it interacted with objects, even responded to simple commands?
Yeah.
That's all thanks to some pretty sophisticated algorithms.
So even though a human was controlling the movements, the robot still needed AI to understand those commands and carry them out correctly.
Exactly. We're talking about things like computer vision, which lets the robot see its surroundings and identify objects,
Yeah.
and natural language processing, which enables it to understand and respond to spoken commands.
Uh-huh.
And we can't forget about those complex motor control systems. That's what allows for that smooth, human-like movement.
So there's a lot more happening behind the scenes than just a human controlling a puppet.
Right.
You mentioned that those AI systems are still under development.
Yes.
What are the biggest challenges in getting them to the point where Optimus can operate completely on its own?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of what makes AI development so tricky. One of the biggest hurdles is getting AI to generalize, meaning it can apply what it's learned to new situations it hasn't seen before. Right now, a lot of AI is really good at specific tasks,
Oh, I see.
but they struggle when they encounter something unexpected.
So Optimus might be able to move around perfectly on a stage in a controlled setting, but take it out into the real world where things are unpredictable and it might not do so well.
Exactly. The real world is messy and unpredictable, and humans are really good at adapting to those changes on the fly. But getting a machine to do that, that's a major challenge for AI developers.
So even if Optimus isn't fully autonomous yet, the fact that it can do these things, even with help, means we're making progress with AI, right?
Absolutely. Every advancement, every breakthrough gets us closer to a future where robots can truly work with us, not just as tools, but as partners.
I'm starting to understand why this whole Optimus thing has created so much buzz. It's not just about the cool robot. It's about what it could mean for the future of AI and how it could change our lives.
Exactly. And as we enter this unknown territory,
Uh-huh.
it's important to keep asking those tough questions, to explore the ethics and make sure this technology develops in a way that benefits everyone.
A lot to think about. This has been a lot of info already. Teleoperation, AI, how the market's reacting, and all the ethical questions.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
But it's exciting, right, to be a part of this technological evolution.
Definitely. It's wild to see all this unfold in real time. Who knows what incredible innovations are just around the corner.
I know. Okay, so we've talked about the tech, teleoperation, AI development. We've talked about the market's reaction, the ethics.
Right.
But there's one piece of the puzzle we haven't really touched on yet,
And what's that?
the financial side of things. Remember how Tesla's stock dipped after the Optimus reveal?
Yeah.
What does that tell us about how investors feel about this whole thing?
That's a really important point, and it shows how complicated the relationship is between innovation and, the market.
Uh-huh.
So let's dive into that next.
Yeah, it really highlights the whole money side of this is so interesting, right? Like you have this cutting edge tech, this dazzling presentation, but the market's like
Hesitant.
exactly hesitant. And, investors are all about,
The bottom line.
yeah, they want to see the return on investment. And with Optimus, there are a lot of question marks.
Like, what kind of questions are they asking? Well, they're looking at the development cost and how soon Optimus can actually hit the shelves. Like when will it be in stores? And then there's the big one.
Market demand.
Exactly. Is there even a market for a humanoid robot? And then they're trying to figure out how all of this fits into Musk's grand vision for Tesla, the whole robo-taxi thing.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It is. It's these huge bets he's making, and investors want some cold, hard evidence.
Right, it's like, show me the money.
Exactly. But let's just say for a minute, Optimus takes off. It's a smashing success.
Okay, I'm with you.
What could that mean for the world, for our lives?
Okay, yeah, paint me a picture.
Imagine a world where robots are handling all the risky jobs, like helping with elderly care, and even doing those everyday chores we all hate. It could free up so much human time and energy for things that require creativity, empathy, critical
The
thinking.
things that make us human. So
Exactly.
it's like this whole new era of automation, but on a scale we've never seen.
Exactly.
But like any big tech shift, it's going to create these ripple effects throughout society.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, what happens to all the jobs robots take over?
That's a big one.
Yeah, and how do we deal with potential economic disparities?
These are the tough questions we need to be tackling right now before this tech gets so big that it blindsides us. We got to think about retraining people, social safety nets, and how to make sure everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
It's a good reminder that tech isn't neutral. It's shaped by us, by the choices we make,
Oh, absolutely.
and the values we embed into it. And with something as potentially revolutionary as humanoid robots, those choices become even more important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This whole Optimus reveal, it's opened up this Pandora's box of possibilities and challenges, and it's up to all of us as a society to navigate this new landscape responsibly.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We've gone over so much: teleoperation, AI development, the market, ethical considerations.
That's a lot to absorb.
It is. It's a whirlwind of info,
Yeah.
but I guess that's what makes this so fascinating.
It pushes us to think critically, to challenge what we think we know, and to engage in these really important conversations about the future we're building.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Optimus, what's the main takeaway you hope our listeners get?
I think the most important thing to remember is that we're just at the beginning of this whole thing. Humanoid robots, they're here to stay, and they're going to keep evolving at an incredible speed. The question is, will we be ready for them? Will we be able to anticipate the challenges, make wise ethical choices, and shape this technology in a way that benefits everyone?
Those are some heavy questions, but I think that's what makes this show so cool. It's not about giving easy answers. It's about sparking curiosity, getting people talking, and empowering our listeners to really grapple with these complex issues.
Absolutely. And as we step into this uncharted territory, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride.
And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to ponder. If you could have a humanoid robot in your life, what would you want it to do? And maybe even more importantly, what would you not want it to do? Think about it, because the future is closer than you think. This has been the Deep Dive, and we'll catch you next time. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk money, because even the coolest robot on the planet needs funding to make it from prototype to, actual product.
Right, exactly.
And when Tesla's stock took a dip after the whole Optimus reveal, it made some people wonder, what's your take on that from an investor's standpoint?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? You have this groundbreaking tech, a really captivating presentation, but the market seems, I don't know, a little unsure.
Hesitant.
Yeah, hesitant. And I think it comes down to this. Investors are pretty practical people.
Makes sense.
They're not just looking at the wow factor, they're looking at the bottom line.
Yeah.
And with Optimus, there are still so many unknowns.
So it's not just about can the robot dance or pour a drink.
No.
It's about whether this can actually turn a profit.
Right. They want to know, how much will this cost to develop? When will Optimus actually be ready to buy? Is there even a market for this kind of robot?
Yeah.
And how does this whole thing fit into Musk's big plans for Tesla, including the whole robotaxi idea?
Yeah, right. Because it's all connected.
It is. It is. He's making these big, risky bets, and investors want to see some solid proof before they jump on board.
It's like that saying, show me the money.
Exactly. But let's play a game for a minute.
Okay, I like games.
Let's say, just for fun, Optimus does work out. It becomes this huge success.
Okay, I'm imagining it.
What could that look like for the world, for our everyday lives?
Okay, yeah, paint me a picture.
Okay, so imagine a world where robots are doing all the dangerous, difficult jobs, helping to take care of the elderly, even doing all those boring chores we all hate.
Sounds pretty good so far.
Right, and think about it. That would free up so much time and energy for humans to focus on things that require, creativity, empathy, critical thinking, the things that make us human.
It's like this whole new level of automation, something we haven't seen before.
Exactly. But like with any big technological change, there are going to be ripple effects across society.
For sure.
What about all the jobs those robots would take over? How do we handle the potential economic inequality that could create?
Yeah, those are the tough questions.
They are. And we need to start addressing them now, before this technology gets so big that it just takes us by surprise.
So we need to be proactive.
Yeah, we got to think about things like retraining programs, social safety nets, and how we make sure everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a few.
It's a good reminder that technology doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's influenced by the people who create it, by the choices we make about how to use it, and the values that we build into it.
Absolutely.
And with something as potentially game-changing as humanoid robots, those choices are more important than ever.
I couldn't agree more. This Optimus reveal, it's like opening a Pandora's box. So many possibilities, so many challenges. And it's up to all of us as a society to navigate this new world responsibly.
Well, this has definitely been a lot to process. We've talked about so much.
Yeah.
Teleoperation, developing AI, the market's reaction, all the ethical questions.
It's a lot.
It is. But it's also pretty exciting,
Yeah.
to be a part of this technological evolution as it's happening.
Absolutely. It's wild to witness this all unfold in real time. Who knows what incredible things are coming next?
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive on Optimus, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important takeaway is that this is really just the beginning.
Yeah.
Humanoid robots, they're not going away. And they're going to keep changing and evolving at incredible speed. The question is, will we be ready for them? Will we be able to see the challenges coming, make the right choices, the ethical ones, and shape this technology so that it benefits everyone?
Those are some big questions. But I think that's what I love about this show. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being curious, getting people to think and talk about these things, and helping our listeners engage with these complicated issues.
Totally. And as we go further into this unknown territory, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride.
And on that note, we'll leave you with one last thing to think about. If you could have a humanoid robot in your life, what would you want it to do? And maybe even more importantly, what would you not want it to do? Think about it, because the future is closer than we think. This has been The Deep Dive, and we'll catch you next time.